Could a higher ticket, improved closing rate, and increase customer satisfaction help your business? What's up, blue collar business owner? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Masker, where we focus on helping guide you to have a prosperous business. Today we have back with us Danielle Putnam. Danielle, she was originally featured in episode 12, so if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that. She is the president of the New Flat Rate, a pioneering software company that created the first menu pricing system for contractors in HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. After 14 years with the New Flat Rate, she's focused on scaling its technology and expanding its impact across the home service sector. She was named Woman of the Year at Service World Expo, served as President of Women in HVACR, and was also featured in ACHR News Top 40 Under 40. She is super passionate about all things trades and women and leaders and building things and family. She's a speaker and advocate for women in the trades. And when she's not working, she's raising her 4 children with her husband in Dalton, Georgia. So that is Danielle Putnam. Welcome back, Danielle. Thank you so much for coming back on. What's going on in Georgia today?
What is up? Thank you, Paul, for that nice introduction. Thanks for having me back. It's great to be here. Dalton, Georgia today is, I love humidity. It's nice and hot and muggy and humid. I love it. It's like you walk outside and you feel like you're swimming. You didn't have to go to a pool. That's what's going on here today.
Wow. Well, I don't hear too many people say they love humidity, but I'm glad you do. We're not too far away. I'm in North Carolina, and it is summer. It's humid. It's gross, but then I remember I grew up in Michigan, lived in Chicago, and I'll take a humid summer over 6 to 8 months of winter. Any day, anytime. So for those people that did not listen to episode 12, Danielle, just kind of give us the quick kind of 30-second rundown of how you got to where you are today running the New Flat Rate.
We started 14 years ago, like you said, in our garage. We were a family of contractors looking to solve a problem. And that was, how do we increase cash flow for contractors so that we don't have that feast and famine up and down? How do we have some consistency without pressuring the technicians to sell, saying, hey, you've got to get a higher average service ticket? So how do we do that? We stumbled upon the power of the menu. And by just presenting a homeowner options, customers buy more. And then the technician doesn't have to have that pressure. So that's how I got here, is we decided, let's do something to make our lives better and let's share it with others. And we're still running strong today.
Love it. And the menu pricing is so important because when people have the opportunity to buy instead of be sold, they get to choose what's best for them based on the information and education and all the good things the technician presents to them based on what they found. So last time we talked about menu pricing, we talked about taking payment before starting, which I think is a phenomenal idea that 99% of people listening to this don't do. We talked about technicians not being afraid to discuss replacement and actually giving the customer the options of what works best for you. What should we do today? Today, we're going to jump into a whole bunch of new, fresh topics. It's been a year. So we talked about menu pricing. For those listeners just who aren't totally familiar with it, just give them kind of the quick rundown of that before we jump into some really new and exciting things today.
You can price your jobs when you go out there. You've got pressure. As a technician, as an owner, how do you price your services? You're always wondering, how are other people pricing their services? Are we pricing correctly? Are we not? Are we, comparable in our market? Are we not? And so a lot of times you've got your time and material and you have your flat rate, which is just a one price. This is what it's going to cost to fix it today, Mr. Customer. And so with menu pricing, it's a sales tool. It's automatic add-on selling. We are an app that they use in the home, heating and air, electrical, and plumbing, and simply just present. So we want the technician to do a great job diagnosing. And then you just present a menu to the customer once you've found the problem. And the customer is able to choose from 5 different price points for service and repair or equipment replacement. What's cool, Paul, is if you go and you are diagnosing in the kitchen and then the customer says, well, what about, my bathroom? I've got a leak over here. Awesome. You go and you diagnose over there. You can easily present 2 different menu pages. You can present as many menu pages as you find problems in the home, and the customer has the opportunity to buy the levels of service throughout their home, just like retail. When they walk into a store, I'm going to buy this because I need it. I'm going to buy this. And so that's what we want. They want them to be able to buy your services like retail so that we're increasing your average service tickets and your cash flow. So that's menu pricing. It's not one stop, one price, pressure to choose, take it or leave it, ultimatum. Instead, it's opportunity to buy more of what you really want based on what you care about. Because today, Paul, man, families are all different kinds, shapes, sizes. Like family makeups are so different, and everybody has their different values. They might want to spend more money in their home because they're in their home. They might want to spend more money somewhere else. And that's what a menu does. A menu allows somebody to buy like they want to while increasing the contractor's cash flow. And then we can take better care of our teams, can't we?
We sure can. And I love where you hit on every family has different values, which is 100% true. And when our technicians can figure out what they value, then when we put together those options, it actually is personalized to them. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I know you don't spend a lot of time here. You're going to move in a year. These are the options that, we recommend for your home versus you're going to live here for 15 years. You're going to raise your family here. You don't want to call us again for the next 5 years. Here are different options for that. So you talked a lot about pricing, time and material, flat rate. I see it every day being a fractional CFO for companies in the trades. One of the biggest mistakes I see contractors, home service business owners, blue collar business owners make is pricing. They don't really have any math behind it. They don't really have any reasoning behind it. A lot of times it's like, well, that was what I needed to charge when I was a one-man band. And I've just kind of raised it here and there, trying to figure it out. Does this work? I called 20 competitors, see what they do. What are some of the biggest mistakes around pricing that you see contractors make that's putting them into this cash flow crunch?
They're not raising their prices. We see that a lot. Even with our own customers, we provide pricing updates, and it's very done for you. And so we will do the material updates and the cost updates and update all the pricing on the menus and say, all right, guys, we've got your updated pricing. Can we go ahead and push it through for you today? And they rarely take advantage of the price increases. And so that is one price or cash crunch, we could say, is like you said, so many companies are pricing how they used to price years ago, and the economy has changed. There is changes all the time. So we recommend let's definitely review and increase your prices a couple times a year. Let's not wait multiple years without increasing your prices. So that's one thing, is they're just not increasing.
Yeah, and you mentioned, inputting the cost of what it actually costs the company to deliver this service. Things have gone up significantly in the last 5 years, just since COVID. And then now there's tariffs and there's uncertainty and all that. And a lot of times that's the last thing we as business owners are thinking about is like, well, what is my manufacturer charging me? What are my vendors charging today? What's the supply house selling this for? Or we think, oh, it's only just like a $5 increase. We don't need to worry about it. But we say that over and over, and eventually it piles up and we're in a problem. So you recommend updating our prices regularly. Obviously, you do that for your own clients and you get the updated costs. What is something a listener that's not using the flat rate, what can they do to stay on top of all the inputs that go into, what it takes to deliver the service that they're selling?
It can be cumbersome depending on what they're doing, right? Let's say a business owner is using a spreadsheet. I see it all the time. And they've got, and they might have the tasks in their software now. It started on a spreadsheet. It might be in their software, their FSM, which is awesome. And so for them to go and increase the prices, that might be difficult. And so we could even start with a percentage. So they might say, hey, I don't have the time to go through and spend all weekend going task by task, but let's just increase by 1% across the board or by a category. Let's say if we've got a different category in plumbing or HVAC, just increase that by 5%. If you're scared to do that, start with 3%. And so choose a percentage and do it across the board is an easy way to get started.
That is great advice. And we had a guest on previously from Next Level Pros. I can't remember if it was Chris or Trent. They both worked there. But they were talking about the importance of increasing the price to your bottom line. Say normally you sell something for $100 and you raise it by $5. It goes from 100 to 105. And say your net profit is normally 5%. So you're making 5%. So at the bottom, you're making $5 out of that 100. But if you raise it to 105, that 5 basically goes to the bottom line because your costs didn't go up from anything else. So it's only going up 5% to your homeowner, went from 100 to 105. But your bottom line doubled. It went from $5 to $10. So 5% to your customer, doubling your net profit. Super powerful just by 5%. And if we go anywhere, things have gone up by more than 5% in the last year. My dad was going to go get an oil change yesterday. He's like, man, these oil changes are so expensive. I remember when they were $19.99, but now they're not. They're $89 and you go get your oil change. And that's just what it is, right? Like we have to make money. We got to put our company first. So I love just start small, 3%. everybody can afford 3% price increase. If not, they're probably you're not your ideal customer.
Yeah,
So
and something to add on there too, Paul, is what I love about contracting and technicians is we are salt of the earth, and we want to make sure that we're not gouging the customer. They want to make sure, and so often they throw in things for free. Hey, I'm here, it's just this. Let me just go ahead and fix it for you. And so they're underselling themselves every day. But when we do that little increase, and if you don't quite feel right about it, then just add more value. Make sure that the customer is getting what they paid for. And so if you're just doing one part, what kind of wow factor could you throw in there? Could you clean up the area a little bit? Could you polish the system a little bit? Could you make it so that the customer's like, oh, wow, I really got my value? And you want to make it, on every job that you're putting in the craftsmanship so that you can sign your name to it and be proud of what you did. It's easier to increase prices when your team has the freedom to increase value with that, not cost, but value.
yeah, and I know you guys are big on that, and even in the Facebook group that you have for all of your clients, I've seen those questions out there and the things people say of what do they do to add that wow factor, and it doesn't cost anything. It might take the technician 2 more minutes. Hey, while I was up there, putting in a new ceiling fan, I dusted this, or hey, while I was doing this, I changed out that light bulb for you, or if we're doing plumbing, hey, while I was down there, I noticed it hadn't been cleaned up in a while, so I just cleaned up, around the hot water tank, whatever it might be. But those little things tell the customer if that's how they do that, they probably do really good work everywhere else. So love that, to get over the mentality and the mindset hump of all of our technicians are really good at what they do, and they undervalue how rare it is to have a plumber or an electrician or a mechanic that is really good at what they do. There's not that many of them, but when we're good at it, it's just like, oh, it only took me 15 minutes. But it takes other people days to do exactly what you take 15 minutes. So let's dive into that a little bit. It's hard for our technicians to sometimes wrap their head around what we need to charge in order to be a profitable, long-standing business that will be there for generations. Because to them, it's simple. It's like, that only took me 10 minutes. That only took me an hour. Why are we charging $350, $400 an hour? I don't get it. How can we get our technicians on board with the prices we are providing to the customers based on the solutions they're choosing?
A couple of different ways. One, I think it's really important, Paul, that your team knows the vision. And too often as business owners, we know where we want to go as a company in our head or maybe on a napkin somewhere. We haven't written it down as a strategic plan. It could just be a one-pager of, hey, this is our annual goals. This is our quarterly goals. This is what we want for the business and for the families, for those who work here. And too often it's in our head, but we actually haven't communicated it to the team and shown them how they are a part of that. Because, yeah, that isn't that easy. I mean, it is easy, but it does take work on the owner's part. And you do have to communicate that. So you have to actually finish the plan so that it's in a communicatable manner. And then once the team knows, oh, this is where the company's going, this is our goal, this is how I play a part of the goal, then the technician can see a little bit more of, oh, we charge that because our overhead actually is this, and we are growing as a company, so we do need to charge that. That's a part of it. The visibility, that conversation is a big part of it. The other is the reminder that they are, and the training, they are a professional. They are trained. They have the tools. The homeowner does not. So it's never just a fix. And sometimes, we can talk about the champion in the truck is if you want to increase your prices or if you want to try something new, it might be difficult to roll it out to your whole team depending on your team dynamic. And so let's choose a champion in the truck, that one person that is willing to go first to try it. Hey, Tom. Hey, Sally. Hey, Susie. Hey, somebody on the team. I trust you. Would you try out? We've made some increases to our price book right here. Will you try it out for us and let us know? Give us some feedback. Let us know how it goes. So get that champion that's willing to go first, because change can be hard. I've got a book on my desk I talk about all the time. It says, change is good. You go first. Because sometimes it's hard to be the one that goes first, right? But who's the champion on your team that's like, you know what, I'll try this first and I'll come back and rally the troops and let them know, hey guys, it's not a big deal. This worked great. The customers are thrilled. They got their value. We can do this. And so having that champion to help spearhead a little bit of growth and a little bit of price increases helps too.
Yeah, and you mentioned again value, and that's really what customers remember. They don't know how good you put in that electrical outlet or how good you installed that hot water tank, but they know how well, how amazing you made them feel and the value they felt when you showed up did your diagnostic or did your analysis, did your assessment, did all the small things that they actually do see. Wow, they actually cleaned up and I heard the vacuum running, or they actually listened to me when I said, hey, we're going to be moving out of here to here. Like all those things add up to the price. By the time we get to the price, it's like, oh, that was a no-brainer. And you hit on something that I think is so important because almost every technician says this. I'm just a plumber. Whenever you say, what do you do? I'm just a plumber at, Joe Smith's down the street, or I'm just a plumber here. We're not just a plumber. Like a doctor doesn't say, oh, I'm just a doctor. They're really proud. Oh, I'm a medical professional. I'm a doctor. Whatever it is, like they're proud of it. And we need our technicians to be proud of it so they do stand behind the value and the everything
Can I
they bring.
please tell you a story since you said medical professional? OMG. On Sunday, my daughter got a bell stuck in her ear on the way home from church. So it was a little bell, like I swear to you. She wore a Christmas dress in June to church and had Christmas earrings with a little bell at the bottom of it. So on the way home from church, she's in the car and it comes apart and she's like rolling it around in her ear because that's fun. And then it gets stuck in her ear hole. And so she's like, Mom, there's an earring stuck in my ear. I'm like, no, there's a bell stuck in my ear. I was like, no, there's not. She's like, yeah, I can hear it in my head. I was like, oh my gosh. So I freak out. So my husband and I spend an hour, I kid you not, trying to get this bell out of her ear. Just like your homeowner spends time trying to fix their air conditioner or fix that outlet. They're trying to fix it. And so they go and they buy the do-it-yourself stuff. So my husband runs to Walmart and he buys all the little suctions he can find and all the little spray things to try to get this bell out of her ear. So we have the vacuum cleaner against it. I've got tweezers in there. We have everything trying to get this out. We put peroxide in there because maybe it'll bubble out, right? So we're doing all the do-it-yourself things to get this out of her ear. And finally, I was like, screw it. We're going to the ER because we needed professionals. And so we go get in the car on the way to the ER. And what am I thinking? Dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign. I need my child to have her ear, but the ER on a Sunday is going to be expensive. So I didn't want to go there. And then I remembered somebody that worked at Dalton Ear, Nose, and Throat lives in my neighborhood. So I swing over there first, get him he wasn't home. His wife gets him on the phone. And he's like, oh, well, call our office. The on-call doctor will tell you what to do. Duh, I didn't even think about that. So I call Dalton Ear, Nose, and Throat. The doctor and I play phone tag. He gets on the phone with me. He hears my story about the bell in my child's ear. And you know what he did, Paul? He did what service providers do well. He put me at ease. Hey, Danielle, you called the right place. I can help you with that. Don't worry. Us professionals, this is what we do all the time. We see this. Although you are unique, because we want to feel unique, right? We see this all the time. Adults come in here, they've had a bead in their ear for months, they didn't even know it, we take it right out, no problem. Just like your homeowner. They need to be put at ease. And so as the professional, the technician, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, you called the right place, we can take care of this today, don't worry. I have the tools and the equipment. I am the expert that has been trained, that has the certifications. I can take care of this for you. We put them at ease and we show them that we have the tools to solve their problem. So then, of course, the doctor gets on the phone. He's like, Danielle, not a big deal. It doesn't hurt her. She's fine. Go about your day. Bring her in at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll take it right out. So we go about our day. We had a big lemonade stand that day. Raised $168, mind you.
Nice.
Yes. And then the next morning at 8 a.m., we're first in line over the doctor's office. We get back there in the chair, and he asks her questions about school to get her mind off of it, looks through his microscope, and he has a tool with a tiny hook on the end. It is such a small tool, but I don't have that tool. And so technicians have tools, big or small. Homeowners don't have those tools. So he goes, just reaches right in, pulls it out with a hook. He's like, did you want it back? Both Palmer and I are like, no, we don't want that earring back. Throw it away. We never want to see it again. And it was no big deal. She's totally fine, sends us on our way. And I'm thrilled with Dalton Ear, Nose, and Throat. I'm thrilled with their medical facility. I'm so glad they went to school and learned what they needed for that moment in time. And I don't care what it cost because I couldn't do it. And so to your point, we as service professionals sell ourselves short so often, thinking, oh, it's just this because that's what we know and it's easy for us. It is not easy for homeowners. And it's stressful for them. They're scared. They're thinking it's going to cost so much. I'm inconvenienced. I can't miss work again. Or whatever their reason is, they're uncomfortable. But we're solving those problems. Let's not sell ourselves short and forget what we are doing, the value that we are bringing to them to be able to have comfort in their home.
It's amazing. And it is so, so true that, what's simple and ordinary to us is amazing to others. Like, not only did that doctor have the tool, he also knew how to use the tool, right? Like, he gives you that tool, you're probably like, I might rupture her eardrum or I might
Well,
do
what's
damage.
so funny is he's like, there's bruising on her ear. I'm like, yeah, no kidding, because we had the vacuum cleaner there for an hour.
That that is funny, and it's hilarious because when our daughter was 3 or 4, she did the exact same thing. She found a little rock on the playground at daycare and wanted to pretend they were earbuds because she saw mom and dad wear Apple earbuds and put it in there and never told us until we were going to bed that night. And like, hey, there's a rock in my ear and I haven't been able to get it out. Like, there's not a rock in your ear. What are you talking about? She's like, just get a napkin and we'll get it out. But we did exactly what you did. Right? Like, we tried to get it out. And then it's like, all right, this isn't going to work. Now we need to go see the professionals. And it's the same thing, especially when you're dealing with pediatrics.
Mm.
They know how to talk to the kids. They know how to calm down the parents. And that's what they specialize in versus adults and be like, they're gonna treat you differently because it's a different type of customer, but they know their customer, they know they're scared, and they're gonna do what they need to do. And then by the time it comes to price, it's like, oh, that's well worth it. And you just made everybody's day a lot better. So
Mm.
that is funny. So going back to that champion in a truck, I love the idea because a lot of times we never make changes because we're afraid of what everybody's going to think, right? And it's like, well, so we just don't do it because we're overwhelmed. We're going to have to roll this out to 12 techs. But when we roll it out to 1 or 2 technicians who can be the champion, what are some just like real life examples or what do you see happen when we go to these champions in the truck? How does that get everybody to buy in probably a lot quicker than if we're just the one, doing the rah-rah of, hey, we're going to do this, everyone's going to do it, and it's going to work. Trust me.
It's the difference between some like a mom and dad telling you what to do versus peers seeing, oh yeah, the neighbor kids do it that way. Oh yeah, so and so does it that way, right? Mom and dad can tell you what to do all the time and nobody wants to listen. We just don't like listening to our mom and dads, right? But we can listen to our peer of, oh, they said to do that. And so that the champion of the truck does bring that in, but it also might be somebody that the rest of the team, it might be a leader on the team that the rest of the team already respects. They know that they work hard, they do great work, and they look out for their teammates. So it might already be somebody that is a leader in the group within your technicians. And so having them champion it proves that it can be done, proves that it's not another gimmick that the boss bought that, oh, we have to do, right? No, that, hey, they tried it, it did work, they're getting results. So for the new flat rate, for example, we work directly with companies to choose their champion before they can roll out the new flat rate. Because once they see, oh, it actually did work with this technician and they're making more money and they're getting bonused on that, wow, I want that too. And so then the adoption rate can be different. It's not just telling people, it's them choosing to find out more, choosing to come aboard, choosing to want to be a part of what's happening over there, choosing, hey, that looks like fun, I want to do that too. And so there's a lot of psychology that happens there when we choose that champion. And also, it helps us, Paul, to support that champion because it can be difficult. Say a service manager, they want to roll something out to everybody at one time, and then they've got to support everybody. But if we're working with a champion, we can make sure, do you have the tools that you need? Do you have the training that you need? Do I need to educate you a little bit more? Do I need to ride along with you today so that I can really help and support? We can give that person full support. And then we're growing in numbers. So then when we're rolling it out to our team, we've got our champion, we've got our service manager. That's two. That's a lot more powerful than just one. So let's not just throw things. Buckshot, is that what we call it? Let's not just buckshot out there, but let's be a little bit more strategic because change, people are resistant to change. We all are. We're resistant to changing shoes. You get used to a certain brand of shoes and they quit making them and then we're all frustrated and mad. We got to change that. Like we're resistant to all kinds of change outside of our comfort zone. And so champions in the truck is a great way to help your team adopt to change.
Yeah, and it's awesome when you can realize when we're slowing down to speed up eventually versus like let's just go all in and then crash and burn over and over and over of hey, let's take our time, let's just make sure we've got it all dialed in before we roll it out to everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and you're 100% right. Nobody likes change, especially someone that's been doing it the same way a lot of times their entire career. If they've come from other companies or they've been
Oh
with you
yeah.
their entire career of like, well, we never give people options. That
Yeah.
to me, that's selling people stuff that they don't need. And all we just need to do is give them a solution for why they called and, all that mentality versus when we can actually have some proof of concept before we try to convince everybody else, it makes it a lot easier. So one of the things you had mentioned earlier is making sure everyone's aligned with the vision and obviously making these changes and rolling out menu pricing or rolling out ride along, whatever it is that we're going to roll out. It's got to align with our vision, and then it makes it a little bit easier for everyone to get on board, especially when their vision aligns. You're also big of taking that to the next step to making sure our families are involved with our mission and our vision and our values and getting them to understand why do we do what we do. And,
Hmm.
when we're doing these things, sometimes we aren't as present, right? Like it
Hmm.
takes time. We've got to put in extra time. We got to work on the business. How can we start to get our family involved so they really actually know what's going on? Because a lot of times, like, I don't know, my dad or my mom, they work in an office all day, they come home. And a lot of times we don't feel like sharing all that stuff with them and we feel like we're just dumping it on them. But why is it so important? And how can we actually start to get them involved with our mission, with our vision that we're doing at a company level and tying that into our family?
My husband and I have been running a lot right now, and we're I'm slowly putting it out there. We're like, all right, should we train for our first marathon? So it's like I'm halfway committed, but I'm about to be all the way committed. So we're training for our first marathon. Let's just go ahead and say that. Training for our first marathon, and a friend of mine who's ran four, she's working on her fifth. She says it's a family commitment. I'm like, what do you mean it's a family commitment? She's like, you know how much running you have to do to train? And so as we've been building up our mileage and running, we're seeing, wait a minute, this is actually taking away from family time to run. And it's not fair for the kids to be like, hey, yeah, we're just running, you can't see us, and them not know why. But hey, we'd like to run this marathon. The race is going to be in September. Everybody's going to get to go. It's going to be really fun. You guys are going to hold these signs. We're going to do this activity in this city. Like when they can see the end goal, then, oh yeah, mom and dad are training for that marathon and we're all going to get to go and celebrate. And that's a great way to tie in with family and with work. Why are you going to work I mean, I've got four kids and they whine all the time. Why do you have to go to work today, Mom? Why can't you stay and play with us? Well, I have to make money so I can feed you and give you a house. Right? But when they know, so around the dinner table, we've been practicing talking about what specifically did you work on today? And so I've been detailing out, you know what, I worked on this project and it was really cool and really fun because XYZ. And it gives them ideas of things that they could do. But back to your real question is, it's important for the family to be in agreement because we all want a good family life and there's chaos in every family. I know there is. Mine is not perfect. My kids scream and fight every day. So we are definitely not perfect. But when we can say, all right, I could work here or I could work somewhere else, but because I work here, these are the benefits for the family. Do we like that? Is that good for us? Yes. Okay. Well, while I work here, this is where I would like it to get us as a family. Do we like that? Yes. Okay, cool. And so then we can begin to support each other, knowing that this is the direction that we're going. And then the family can even, if they want, in home services, so often the family's a part of it, right? And so the kids get up in the summer and they go out in the truck and they're helpers and they're doing things and they're crawling under houses and they're crawling in attics. But let's let them know this is what our family does. This is how we make money and this is how you can contribute and this is how it benefits you. You get to work on this project today. Good. You get an allowance and then you get to spend it on this family vacation. So, Paul, I just think it's important. I think today when Americans especially, we're so busy with more and more technology. Our family unit is so busy that we forget we could be working together and supporting each other, and it could be a whole lot better. Right now, my husband's rebuilding a staircase in our basement, going down to our basement. And so in the evenings, if I'm taking the kids, to sports and to things, he needs that time to finish that staircase. I'm not mad at him because he's working at night. I'm glad to support him because he's doing that for our family, and we've communicated that. And I don't know that that's even the best example, and it might just sound dumb, but if we can communicate as a team unit, as a family of this is what we're working on, this is why, this is what I was thinking, what do you guys think? So it's not a take it or leave it ultimatum. It's, okay, yeah, it would be great to have that new staircase. Thanks for working on that for us.
Yeah, and I love just getting the entire family on board of where we're going. Of like, is that where we all want to go? Do we want to
Hmm.
have the freedoms that this work can give us eventually? And like you said, then we check in every day. Hey, you working on that project, did that get us closer to doing whatever it is that our ideal life looks like, and how can we leverage that business to build the ideal life that we actually want, instead of just going in, working every day, but not getting any closer. And then all of a sudden our kids are 18 and we're like, why did we do that? So, and the marathon example is like awesome, because a lot of times we don't do things for ourselves, like run a marathon, because, well, I got to do this and I got to take my kids here and I won't have time to do this. But it also shows your kids will remember that. And like, my mom and dad didn't give up until they ran that marathon. And that taught us perseverance and taught us all these things. And we got to go to Boston or wherever we were going to watch them run this marathon. So love the example. So Danielle, as we start to wrap this up, we want, just like the last time we chatted, we want our owners to take action. We've talked a lot of great things today. But what's one thing they can do within the next 24 hours to just start to move the needle, move their business forward, just even 1%?
Take the plan out of their head and put it on paper.
There you go. Simple. And it's so funny because we as humans, you do it, I do it. We always have like these plans and these ideas, and I should be doing this, and I really want to start this, and we never do it. Right? And then all of a sudden we look back, and all of a sudden we're 40, 50, 60 years old, and like, damn, we've been talking about this forever. Just do it. A friend of mine texted yesterday. He's like, man, I really want to get out of corporate America and go buy a business and start. And like, you've been telling me that for 15 years. Like, just do it. Like, if you're going to do it, do it. Otherwise, just stop. But get the plan out. Put it on paper.
Well, and my nanny wants to be a massage therapist. She's about to go to school, and I told her the other day, I was like, do you know, I said, this is just like home services. So I said, you're a service provider. I said, but you're so much luckier than home services right now. I said, because you already know you have 6 months. The clock's ticking. You're in school for 6 months. Come January, you need a dispatch board full of clients. What do you need to do? So it's so easy when you have time to plan, right? So when we get the plan out of our head and we put it on paper, it's just math. How many service calls do you need a day? What do you need your average service ticket to be? How many prospects or customers do you need in the pipeline to book that amount? And building your list. And then when are we communicating with them? So we get that plan out of our head, put it on paper, then it's just math. And we work backwards, and business is easy again.
It's so true. That's exactly what we do every day. We just use numbers to make decisions as fractional CFOs of like, hey, you want to do $5 million? Cool. What's your average ticket? What's your closing rate? What's your call booking rate? Okay, there's so many calls you need or leads you need. There's someone you're getting now. What are we going to do to bridge that gap? Are we going to, what's the strategy? Or like you said, if you're just starting out or just getting off the truck, well, what do we need to do? How much revenue do we need to do? And then let's just work backwards. And then what's really cool, in my opinion, and one of the things I preach the most is like, look what would happen if we just increased our average ticket by a couple $100. If we just improved our close rate by 10%, if we just booked 10% more of all the calls, we get all of a sudden your business like doubles because of just these little tweaks along the way. But it goes back to math. And if we're just starting and you need 10 calls a week, what are you going to do today to get two of those 10? Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
I like it. Win the day. Write it down.
Win the day. Danielle Putnam, thank you again for coming on the show. Repeat guest, sharing your journey, providing even more actionable advice for all the blue collar business owners out there as we continue our journey to prosperity. Before we leave, Danielle, where can our listeners go to learn more about the new flat rate, get connected with you, and go from there?
Hey, please do follow us online and check out our podcast, the New Flat Rate Podcast on Spotify. I'd love it if you'd give it a listen. We've been talking about stuff like this too. And Paul, I'd like to have you on the show again, which would be awesome. And so check us out there, the New Flat Rate Podcast on Spotify, also thenewflatrate.com. We're on youtube.com/newflatrate, of course, also. And I'm Danielle at thenewflatrate.com. Reach out anytime.
Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate it. Guys, just go. There's not a lot of new flat rates out there. Just go to Google, look for the New Flat Rate, find the podcast, find the website, find Danielle, connect with them, and learn more about what they're doing. Danielle, thank you again for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul, for having me.
And before we go, as you know, there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to creating consistent, positive cash flow. However, the journey starts with making sure you are priced right so you can have a growing and more profitable business. I've created a super easy to use pricing calculator for everyone in the trades. You will no longer have to guess what you should charge. You'll no longer have to call around your competition and see what they charge. This calculator is easy to use and will provide you confidence and clarity that you're actually priced right. It also comes with a step-by-step PDF guide and a video walkthrough. So head on over to thebluecollaradvisors.com/price. thebluecollaradvisors.com/price to download it today, and so you can start implementing it tomorrow. Until next time, remember, what got you here won't get you there. If you are ready for different results, it's time to start doing things differently.